Alrighty, let's get back to it. So I'm playing with the audio levels a little bit more. I'm noticing that when I click over to my streams, the audio is way lower than it is on other stream. Like if I'm watching other people's Twitches. Hold on. I'll make a friend come join me. We'll see if it works out. He's in Britain, so, or London or something. I'm not sure what the specifically where in the Commonwealth. Let's see here. Okay, what am I doing? Yeah, let's finish coloring Zelda. Let's do it. How can I get this to? There we go. That's not so bad. Really trying to not have any regrettable, accidental F-ups with the whole, like, oh, here's my emails, or here's my financial documents, or whatever. It's surprisingly hard to avoid making mistakes like that. Or maybe unsurprisingly. Getting a little bit better. Oops. Okay. Okay, coloring all this crazy stuff. Okay, we've made a lot of good progress. Okay, one thing I want to do is pull up some references for the colors for the Moblin and Bokoblin. I think I can quickly just color pick stuff for Link right now, but that'll only get us so far. Oh, I'm gonna sneeze. I don't think I've sneezed on stream before. It's really early in LA, so I don't necessarily want to wake up the whole house, but I might have to. Okay, where's Link? Alright, here we go. We'll see if my friend, I don't know, my Pat, if you're hearing this, type something in the chat and I'll see it. And if you're not hearing this, then smeg off, or whatever they might say. Let's see here. Okay. Obviously, basic color picking for Link, pretty easy. Picking colors. while there's a lot going on in this picture, I don't necessarily think it'll be super complicated to get all the flat colors in. Since the color from moblin to moblin won't really vary in a way that will matter too much to me. Though I suppose moblin colors can and do vary. But I don't know how much I really want to make a meal of that. Zoom in a little. Okay, that looks like it. Okay, let's find some moblin references. Here we go. Yeah. Go away. These are the moblins I remember. And those guys. Huh. Moblin. Moblinos. Okay, so there are, like, a lot of variation. With the designs. Okay. This looks like a handy reference. Handy, if not official. What is this? Looks like someone else drew a moblin kind of little moblin design take on the classic. Okay, and then the bokoblin. Here we go. Okay, and yeah, looks like they kind of get away with any color you want, which is lovely. That means I have to think hard about all the different colors. That's not what I want to do. Okay, well, they're all going to be somewhere in the orangey, yellowy, browny universe. Maybe it's best I just don't overthink it. The problem with this one is a lot of things are going to be... Oops. A lot of things are just going to be brown. Yeah. It's a little intense for me to start. But I guess they're all going to seem that way if it's on a black and white image. For some reason I feel like the kind of like a cat or dog. Sometimes the underbelly is a little bit brighter. I know they have glowing eyes. Horns with some sort of shape. Oh, there you are. Maybe that's you. Pat. Oh, there you go. That's you. You're in, bud. I'm gonna type even though I don't need to type. Is this your first Twitch stream that you've ever seen? It's cool that you popped in. What time is it where you are? And you don't have to keep engaging. If you just want to chill, it's not a big deal. There might be other people watching too. They might chat. You don't have to make it a point to do anything at all. You can just relax. But I do want to know if I sound okay, if I sound weird, if the music's too loud, if I'm too loud. Let me know if there's any weirdness, because I just did the audio a little bit today. What is the software that I'm using for drawing, or the software I'm using for the streaming? The software that I'm using for drawing is Painter. Painter 2023. And then the streaming software is called OBS, which is like a internet broadcasting software. And if you're familiar at all with Zelda, you know, the video game, this is just sort of a fan art project that I'm doing to have something somewhat derivative and somewhat original to do on the stream. Okay, let's start at the top with everything else. So yeah, there's gonna be a lot of color challenges with this one. Basically, because the palette is going to be so brown and like earth tone. But I'll be able to, I think, do some interesting things. And part of the story for this is theoretically I can put a I don't know if I need to do this, but if I need something to like really hype up the art down the road, I can add a sort of a forest fire happening in the background that can really heighten the drama. But I don't know if I need to get there yet. I do want there to be some, I don't want all this to be like super one note. We can see some things that look like different sections of the wood. A cut section versus the bark. Maybe different materials used to tie, just to get some variation. Make it look a little bit more interesting. To be insanely busy. But I think we can make a case for variation where it's called for. Anyway, Pat, if you're still there, I'm in Los Angeles, and the constraints of my life being what they are, it just turns out that I have two options. Either I'm going to stream really late at night, which isn't really good for my tendency to default to bad habits. Or I can stream really early in the morning and sort of set myself up a little bit better for the day and make good choices and that sort of thing. So I've been attempting to stream more regularly in the morning as opposed to late at night, which isn't as sort of fun or sexy or anything like that, but it does help me get up, start my day better, and knock out the streaming first off, which is kind of my new fun habit. It's my new hobby. And just so anybody who's listening and confused, my buddy in the chat is checking it out. We know each other from online, and he's an artist too, so working in storyboarding, we have much in common. Okay. Looking like a solid stab at a bridge. It's probably... a lot of these colors are just going to have to evolve over time. Once everything is sort of got the base color, it's going to be interesting. It's going to have this brown on brown on brown effect. And so the lighting and the atmospheric perspective, the design is really going to be required to really understand what's happening. And that'll have to come later on, but we'll get there. Okay. Okay, it's kind of like these bokoblin can be really varied, it seems. A lot of interesting color transitions. In their case, it seems difficult to, for me to separate out the color choices, separating out what is like color picking versus lighting. Next to so much orange, these grays, like if I paint this, that's gray, but it has a bluish tint on my screen. Up here, it's not as cool looking. It's interesting to see the difference in color from this screen to that one. Just another challenge. Just another challenge in the mix. Keratinous horn on top. Really gross toenails. Maybe some grossness again. Yeah. A little bit of gross texture in the horns. Only because this guy's so close to camera. Let's get some weird variation on the skin. Some blotchies. Maybe he's got like ashy elbows. Huh, that's funny. Some like dark crust behind his ear. Moblins, they're just like us. Maybe a little reddish towards the snout. Veins in his hands. Don't want to get too crazy. Some of this, what I'm doing is kind of a lighting consideration. I'm not trying to get that far yet. If anybody's working along, don't forget to save your work. Okay, on to the next one. Okay, I think this guy can... Let's try and make him a little yellowy. Yeah, let's try it. We can apply some similar logic. Little pale moblin butt. These guys wear dirty little gross loincloths. Pat, I don't know if you're still in the chat, but I told you that the software that I'm using is Painter, but I do not endorse this software. It is buggy and problematic and poorly supported. So, in its present form, I don't encourage anybody to rush out and buy it. I think it's in my case, it's I'm too far. I'm in too deep. But if you can develop good software habits with a different program, I encourage you to try almost anything else. Even Photoshop, unfortunately, is a better choice. Balls. Okay. And then I feel like this needs... It's okay to have some fun moblin spots, some coloring. How fun is that? They look like fun little dudes. Okay, and then of course, let's get a big old log for a club. Some darker, much redder parts to it. That's interesting. I don't want it to look like meat. Let me try that again. I made it look too appetizing. It's kind of like this. I don't know. I just want to make it look like it. Beating up some dudes before. It's kind of too eye-catching, but... I think we can leave it there for now. Okay, on to the next one. This guy can be really dark. Looks like a viable color. Just a little bit more. Saturated, like a little bit of a tan. On these upward facing surfaces where you'd catch more sun. Chasing with a big, crusty, soft serving spoon. Guess they can have if they could have stripes, kind of. It's a little too saturated. Okay. It's already becoming a big mess. So this guy just trying to make them alternate in a way where they're not literally all the same, or at least not too much the same shade and color. So we can tell when one starts and the other begins, or ends. Oh look, that guy's got a big old club. This guy can have darker spots. It's kind of fun. With all these variations in their skin tone, that's going to make it really difficult with my process later to light it. It's going to get really... I'll have to, I think, cheat it a little bit. I won't be able to be so pure with my process, but I think it'll be okay. I'm not sure what this weapon is, other than what it looks like, which is just a big rock tied to a stick. I don't know. Don't know if I'm still in love with it. I remember it being a funnier idea at the time. But anyway, let's see here. Okay. Gosh, there's even one more guy here. And we can make him sort of a dark bright orange, I think. Feels a little too intense. Let's back that up a little bit. Okay. Pretty simple. The smaller these guys get, the less it makes sense to think about every darn little detail. All the other scenes are so easy compared to this. That's funny. Okay, I don't mind. Like this guy in particular, I don't mind him being a little intense like that. He can be kind of just this straight little red guy. Kind of like that. So all the focus is like supposed to be right here in this area. Not to say that he specifically is the focus, but he is in the focus. Okay, and he can have a dark, much less saturated friend group right behind him. Okay. That'll do for that little section. What else is left? Okay, he's there. looks like this guy's next on the list, and so I may make it easier on myself by color picking from variations that are already present now in this, which is, I think, fair game. Yeah, looks like that's just how the layers are layered. Oh well. Right, some Zelda. Let's see here. I'm going to basically steal her colors from the image up there. She's so small in this composition, it's crazy. The chat is quiet today, but the progress is very good, so... That's the upside. Because I get a lot done. Zelda pants. Zelda boots. That feels like that gets us there. Zelda. I'm gonna have to really pump Link up in the composition because he's very dim with his colors here. But we'll get there. Okay, we can turn off the reference. Bye-bye. Okay. This will be quick. Just some dead skeletons down there. Maybe some variation. That's good. Okay. Color up some of these characters. These guys are like my favorite guys now. These cute little moblins up here. It's like one's really excited, the other one's really scared. This guy, we can make him Chat, I'm gonna take 2 seconds to go, well, maybe I'll do it in a minute. My son is asleep upstairs. My wife is leaving for work, and I just want to make sure the door is bolted after she goes so that he doesn't wander out in the street. Because I like him. He's fun. Let's keep him. Okay. This guy can have a old white face. Like a dark horn. Yellow teeth, all the grossness. Dark bandages, basically clothes have like never been washed. He's the leader because he's the stinkiest. Some sort of perhaps even blue ornament to his. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, that's fun. Okay. Well, no. Okay, so there's more bridges. Okay, my wife has left for work, so I'm gonna quickly step away to bolt the door, and I'll be right back. Two seconds. I'm gonna get a little coffee too. Well, we'll do it a little haphazard for the rest of the stream, because I'm here with just my son now. My daughter went to Santa Barbara with a friend. their friend's family. They, you know, her bestie, and old friends of ours. So we're obviously very trusting of them. And their daughter invited my daughter to go with them to the beach and spend the night at a hotel. And that happened last night. So she's having the time of her life. My son is here being spoiled because he didn't get to go. There we go. Okay, so this back bridge, the color there, it's too far away for me to, and like the resolution is too low for me to prioritize doing any kind of variation in the line, in the color. My coffee's brewing in the other room, and I think it's done. I'll go get it in a second. It's too hot to drink anyway. Okay. These are funny guys over here. a lot of potential for humor in these funny little characters, so I had to capitalize on it. Whoops. There we go. Got a little too vigorous. Okay. Just noticing I forgot to draw a horn on this guy. It's interesting. Okay, let's really quickly add a little horn, since he needs it. Now he's happy and horny. Okay. Progress. Making progress. Okay, this poor guy. Made a big deal about him falling. He gets his own layers and stuff. That's because I was moving him around a bit, trying to find a good spot in his composition. He could go anywhere, really. Alright, I'm gonna grab my coffee because I'm yawning. Okay. Okay, now we're coloring the far side of this bridge. Same color, but just to appease an instinct, I'm gonna make it slightly darker. Or maybe it should be lighter. Weirdly, I like it slightly lighter and less saturated on the section that they're actually walking on. Can't tell too much difference there, but it's good. And then idea that there's sort of a brighter kind of texture to the section of the bridge that is actually walked on. Subtle, but I think it makes sense. Down the road, it'll be like this dusty bridge. I'll have all these particles and bits of dust that are getting kicked up from the tromping and the marching, and there'll be all sorts of different fun ways to create depth with all this stuff going on that should really make for a cool image. It's funny, I've already introduced some atmospheric perspective here just to make the image look decent, I guess, but I don't mind coloring that just to see what happens. Okay, we're gonna go blue. It's not particularly strong. Maybe we... Because it's either like a low-lying mist or smoke from a fire, but either of those things can have a bluish color. Uh-oh. What happened there? Somehow I made a boo-boo. At some point in the past, I let the fill of this get compromised, and so there's been some spilling with an airbrush of all things. Okay. Luckily, we didn't go too far. I guess that would have been easy enough to fix. But I like my layers clean on purpose for a reason. That's interesting. Looks like I lost some of the spikes there. Yeah, I don't want to lose those spikes because I like them. Okay, so quick reordering of layers there. So we're going to color those back boblins. Okay, here we go. Hey, Squirrel Reaper. The chat has been quiet this morning, but the progress has been significant. I've been at it a little while, but thanks for popping in. I'm just looking at your emote, and you were in the kitchen for the past hour and a half. I hope you were making something good. Wow. Ooh, seafood tomato soup thing. We grow a lot of tomatoes in our garden in the summertime, and I love tomatoes, but we may have too many of them at times. It's been tomatoes in every dish. Seafood tomato soup. That sounds lovely. Yeah. Fresh, ripe tomatoes. Ooh. You can't beat them. And if you can grow them, they're better than anything you'll get in a store for sure. But they all come at once. There's no steady supply of perfect tomatoes unless you have like a greenhouse, I guess. For us, it's all the tomatoes at once and then they all go away. What time is it where you are, Squirrel Reaper? I don't can them. Okay, almost 8. All right, it's 6:30 here. I'm just curious where everybody is. So, and this is frustrating a little bit for me because my wife is from Alaska and like they can and preserve like all sorts of stuff. They get wild huckleberries and they make all sorts of great jams, and they'll can salmon, they'll can anything, can bear meat, can moose meat, all sorts of stuff. And she does no canning. Like my wife is not she's very good at lots of things, like being like a superhero, but she is not. She's not a whiz in the kitchen, I would say. Those, and in some ways, I don't mind because I mean, like into cooking. Like one of my favorite shows for a long time was like the original Japanese Iron Chef, and I really love interesting ingredients and gadgets. I'm a little I'm a little I'm not food obsessed. I'm not, but I am I would call myself an adventurous eater, and I appreciate the science and the technique of cooking. Canning is one of those things I'd love for her to pick up since she's got the most experience with it, and she just doesn't. Do you can stuff? Can you can? And if you can, I don't know. I don't have an amazing joke there. Can I make a can joke? I don't think I can. Ugh. I can't. I think what happened is that canning and cans were so ubiquitous for my wife growing up. Like her parents moved to Alaska to be adventurous, and believe me, Alaska is adventurous. So that was definitely mission accomplished there. But my wife sort of grew up with having a sense of I guess personal anxiety about stuff that is too rustic. I don't want to be not I want to be generous as possible with my terms here, but I don't think she reflects on it as being canning as being something aspirational for her. For her, like, growing up poor in Alaska was like something they did because they had to. And since she lives in Los Angeles, since she got the hell out of Alaska and lives here now in Los Angeles, it's kind of a repudiation of those needs, and I understand that. But for me, canning is not played out. It's not it's like a fun novelty. That would be like a cool hobby. But she has a different perspective on it, I think. But then she wavers and she's like, "I love Alaska. Let's move back." You know. But I know she loves it here. We'll see. Never say never. Canning tomatoes would be good. My wife likes to make a big sauce and then she'll just keep it in like some containers for a while. But then again, like it's like that's her way. She harvests the tomatoes, she makes them, she's like, I don't know what to do here. So she just cooks them down and then expects me to do stuff with them. And I do make foods and soups and sauces and whatever with them. But they're not preserved, you know, and they only last so long in the kitchen. So we're actually to the turning point now where some of the first stuff that she made, it's gone bad. We've had to toss it. It's a shame, but that's life. Snooze, you lose. We definitely made a good use of the what we've grown though. Oh shit! That reminds me. There's a huge zucchini in the back. I gotta go get. It's probably the size of my house right now. That'd be funny. It would interrupt the stream, but if I came back and brought it in, it would probably be... Because, like, I saw it, like, 2 days ago, and it was, like, this big, and I'm like... I know it's good enough now, but I want it to be slightly bigger, but then I totally just spaced on it, and it's been a couple days. And those things grow so quickly that it's, like, exponential. You're gonna go make working out in the backyard. Working on the backyard. Your workout routine. Good, good, good. Lot of good exercise to be had. Do you like gardening? Do you like growing stuff? I used to do landscaping door to door. Oh, yeah. Interesting. Yeah, dirt and hard rock, huh? Well, you will, it sounds like you're at least experienced with dealing with that stuff if you've done landscaping. Although that's like a double-edged sword, because now you know exactly how much hard work is involved. But I'm convinced landscaping is like... I've got this gardener who... this guy is like ripped like Rambo. And all he does is, you know, move around his lawnmower from place to place. Like, that's crazy. Yeah, you've got all that stuff. You've got your rock and plant torture devices. Ooh, that's a good idea for like a game. Gardeners versus zombies, or like a movie. Yeah. Zombies getting like thrown into wood chippers and stuff. I think it's so important to have non-artistic hobbies, like physical, like it's not good. I think the mind needs other things to help it process stuff that it learns, like in like mindless hard labor is really good for me, for like processing stuff that I'm learning. So if I'm like studying something and I'm thinking about it, and then I go on a hike, which like helps to process, solidify the materials in my brain, give it something to latch onto. I used to hike all the time. Having kids really, well, having kids and working and all the things, it really, I feel like I have no time left for myself at all. That's a shame. Like I used to go to the gym and care about my physique, and there's just no time for any of that anymore. Unless I get up at 4 a.m. And now that I get up at 4 a.m. and I stream, there's still no time. Possibly, I'm like, since I started like doing this more regularly, I'm like, man, I don't have time for anything. Because this is now what I do in my downtime, and I love it. So it's impossible for me to. Well, it's not impossible. It's just painful for me to take my downtime and do something else with it. Like, I don't want to organize my finances or do other things. I want to stream. That's not even so much streaming. It's like working on this project too, and having the just feeling like I'm getting closer to something that I'm trying to do. I'm not really good at making long-term plans or goals, so it's interesting for me to like with my storyboarding work, like I'll be on a job, but it's so temporary. It's like sometimes it's only like a day. So to have a project that I've been working on for like months and months, it's a big departure in my habits and my processes. That's what Portfolio did for me. Been at it for about 2 years and it's consumed everything. Especially now it's close to being finished. Taking time to work on anything else feels like a waste. Absolutely. Once that's done, I'll have the day freed up. Now I'm super curious to see your portfolio, but you don't have to show. I believe you showed me some stuff the other day, right? We saw some of those cool sketches that you were doing. Will you be taking that to like, I don't know, game studios, or where do you see yourself, like, where do you see where do you see like, only because I'm bringing it up only because it's popular, like game dev or something like that, or more like animation? I think I hear my son waking up. We'll see. Let's see if I can power through this. Going for games, cool. Don't really care if... Yeah, that sounds awesome. In my limited experience with like AAA game developers like EA. I wouldn't encourage anybody to pursue being just a cog in the wheel. If this is your passion, there are better ways to treat employees, I think. Final Fantasy Tactics. Okay, I think I understand that your reference. Share, yeah, you can drop a link. This is a link-friendly stream. All right. As we know, I like to live dangerously by clicking links. Wow, that looks great. That's the response you want, right? The like instant, like wow, you know, that's great. Here, let me like to. When I remember to, I like to hide my bookmarks and stuff. Not that there's anything crazy in there. This looks great. So this is obviously like 3D. What do you make this in? Like, I don't have any experience, or like I'm 41, so like long time ago, ZBrush. Okay, very cool. Like that feels like it's industry standard or whatever. I really like the there's a sense of stylization, like an aesthetic. Like it you didn't just go for like obvious like here's a person, except, you know, you can tell it's not really a person, or not. Here's a person, except there's uncanny valley issues, but like this doesn't have that. This has the I designed it the way I designed it because this is what I intend it to look like, and it's really great. This is cool. I am a big fan of anything as like deliberate and the human touch, but this is obviously really well executed. Really cool. So that is I like the it just has this sort of like anime a 3D anime aesthetic, but without being too obvious as well. Like it's doing a really good job of like hybridizing the a sort of like 3D aesthetic with anime, and a big part of that I feel like is in the structure of the eyebrows, the gaze, and the hairline, and of course the gravity defying ties. That's really cool. Well done, well done. And only because it seems to matter a little bit. I even like the way you laid it out on the page here, like where you see half and you see like these fun turnarounds, but it's sort of staggered a little bit. It's fun. All right, great work, great work. Okay. I hear my son being fussy upstairs, so I'm gonna have to go quick with the rest of this. Here, let me go check on him, making sure he's okay. I'll be right back. So that was funny. I went up and I said, Robbie, you okay? And he says, yes, go away. So I'm going to take him at his word. And that's good. And I don't need much more time with this. I don't think... Yeah, no, it's hilarious. I mean, he's a big boy. He's all of 4 years old, so he doesn't need anybody's help. Thanks. So the process starts with the local color choices, where it's sort of like, okay, if something like, here's some tree bark is brown, therefore the color is brown. But you know, how do you get from there to like making choices about like lighting and stuff, because I haven't made any of those choices in any of these color decisions. So that process comes next, and that might be very interesting to you, and especially if you have a solid interest and background in 3D. So that won't happen on this stream, but it will in a future one, and it'll apply to all of these, so you know, you don't have to watch every single darn thing. It may get a little tedious because it's not exactly a fast process. Also, the frustrating thing is that it actually doesn't even look that good until almost the very end, because it's almost sort of like a photographic process where some of the final things I do is like I adjust it for exposure and other types of things, just to like really get it into that next level. So yeah, but there might be something to learn as far as it goes. But okay. So, and I'm still like learning some of these things. The technique that I use is not something I've seen out in the wild. I learned it from an art director friend of mine, and he doesn't remember where online he learned it. He just saw like a funny tutorial, I guess, and then when he tried to find it again, he couldn't find it. So, but he sort of taught himself how to do it, and then he showed me, and I was like, that is really interesting. So I've used it on many projects where I was like, man, I just don't know how to color this, so I'm going to try this. And it's always helped me like immensely. So I'm going to see how versatile it can be with, you know, a kind of cool project like this. I know that on some of these, it's going to ace it. And I know on some of these, it'll be a bit of a stretch to see how well it does. But it is cool. It is worth checking into later. But what you'll see is there will be a big difference between how these look today and how these will look next stream. It'll be there'll be changes, dramatic changes. Okay. I don't know if it'll be tomorrow. It's a little tricky for me to what is unfortunately a reality for me right now is I got booked on a big job that is kind of obnoxiously taking up a lot of my time this week. And that all that means is that time that I would normally the downtime that I would normally have an excess of downtime, but this week I don't, which means I have to make choices between, like, you know, doing social things with my family or catching up on other obligations like chores, or doing the stream, and I have to make sure that I'm actually paying attention to other things that need to happen in life other than this project. But I will try to do it tomorrow. And even if you, here's the good news: is the coloring process will be like maybe 2 weeks worth of streams. Like you won't miss. If you miss something, you can pick up the same technique the next day. And there won't be... Yeah. And then, I save all my VODs. So you could watch it on just the Twitch or the... I eventually upload them to YouTube in short order as well. So there's no... it's not like, hey, you missed it. Too bad, so sad. It will be cool. And I'm really excited for it because I have not had an opportunity to use those techniques in over 2 years. Maybe longer. Maybe, God, it could be like 4 years. Because my work is like black and white art. So if I'm not being hired to do color, I just don't get the need to practice it. But I should also say, like, it's a purely digital approach. Like, this is not... You couldn't take this and apply it to like oil painting or something like that. It's gonna stay in the world of the digital. These trees are going to be really... So the trees are going to be extremely tricky for me to apply my coloring technique to, because there's going to be so much variation. So there will be instances in which, like, okay, my technique on this will be too slow, so we're going to have to do like a hack or something like that. And then we'll just do whatever looks good. We won't, gosh, my silly camera is wobbling so much. Go with something that isn't too time consuming. Okay, that's enough. What did I do? Okay, there's the spike lines. Okay, and now make these birds over here kind of a blue color. This will be interesting, and I'm just gonna make it kind of grayish pale blue. This will probably look weird, but it's the background here is just really a placeholder. I'll do some sort of like a matte painting effect to like really make it look like there's a forest happening, but there's so much that still needs to happen with the design of the background, but that has to be just down the road because it's all going to be sort of blurred out and atmospheric and something that is happening so far in the distance that it's not really like I can't draw it with line work because the scene is already too complex. So whatever it is, it'll be soft, it'll be very far away, it'll be painterly, and recede. So this sort of blue misty effect for now we'll have to do. Okay, so that is it. That brings us to the end of this stage of coloring. Flat colors applied and looking decent. Man, it's funny, the difference between the colors on this monitor and that one are insane, but this is the more expensive monitor, so I'm going to hope it's at least halfway decent. The one up here, it's looking very bright and cartoony. It's a little less saturated down here, but we'll see. That can always be affected down the road. Okay, Scroll Reaper, thanks for paying me some visits, keeping me company, and Pat, I'm sure you're not listening anymore, but thanks for popping in. Anybody else who's lurking, thank you. And next time, big color differences. It's going to look drastic in the approach. We'll see some new techniques. We might learn something. And I invite anybody to come and see. It'll be an adventurous educational ride for the next several, if not dozens, of streams. Getting color applied to all this stuff, and also effects. We're gonna do things like paint fire, paint dust, paint smoke, paint debris, paint energy, all that stuff. So we'll see how it goes. All right, and see you next time.